background, I try to tell my wife to limit the amount of ice cream that comes into the household. Otherwise, I don't do so well. So I'm glad that they chose this place for me to come today. I was practicing as a veterinarian, happy small business owner, had a good quality life. My wife loved being married to a veterinarian. My parents don't really like politicians. Hopefully they like one now, but I really never thought about going into politics. But back in 1994, I thought there were some serious problems with the country at the time. People were talking about nationalizing our healthcare systems, our deficits were starting to go up, taxes were going up, and I just believed that that was the wrong direction for our country. And so back in 1994, I ran for office for the very first time. And it's interesting because, like I mentioned, my family was not really enamored with politics. My father, who was in the casino business for about 45 years, I grew up with a single mom, and then my mom married who became my adopted father. I was adopted when I was 15. They both started out carrying change in the casino business. And so when my mom was a single mom, we were very poor growing up and all of that, but I learned a great work ethic from her. But interesting, when my dad said to me, being in the casino business all those years, he said, John, when I was thinking about running for office, he says, why do you want to go into such an immoral business? And I got a kick out of that. Most people get a kick out of that, somebody being from the casino industry. But he basically, that's how he views most politicians. And unfortunately today, I think a lot of Americans have a view of politicians that way because too many people run and they talk about one thing in their campaign and then they do something else while they're in office. I believe our party got away from its basic principles in the early part of this decade. We used to be a party. I became a Republican because of Ronald Reagan. I was a Democrat before that. When I was 18, my first time I voted for Jimmy Carter. Not something I'm proud of, but I did, and I've repented ever since. But it was I actually thought Jimmy Carter, ran on some fairly conservative principles. But when Ronald Reagan came along and he talked about limited government and thinking about the next generation and not burdening them with this huge debt, more personal responsibility and understanding that the government isn't the answer. As a matter of fact, a lot of times it's the problem, that people make better decisions with their own money and businesses make better decisions with their money than the government would make with that money. Those were the principles that attracted a lot of moderates, Democrats, and independents to the Republican Party. And during the early 2000s, we got away from those principles. We became the party of big spending and big government. And that is the reason I think a lot of people left our party and why we lost the last couple of election cycles is that there are differences in the Midwest here versus the Intermountain West where I live versus the West Coast and the Northeast and the South. There are regional differences, and we need to respect each other's differences there. But there are things that we can come together as a national party, and I believe that what the Democrats are doing now in dramatically taking our country to the left gives us a golden opportunity to get back to those core principles and to become a majority party again in the United States. And we need to take those core principles and apply them to the problems of today. For instance, on health care. Health care is affecting everybody. Some people say there's not a crisis. Well, if you're a mother and you got a child you don't have health insurance and that child has a disease that needs critical care, there's a health care crisis. Or if you're a small business like this and you can't afford health insurance for your employees, or it becomes such a burden that you may go out of business, it is a crisis. So the problem in the United States is really a question of cost, and also that we don't encourage people to make good choices with their lives. In other words, somebody who smokes pays the same premium as somebody who doesn't smoke, and yet it costs about $1,400 to $1,500 a year to insure a smoker than a non-smoker. Safeway is a company that has about 200,000 employees. Over the last 4 years, they've been able to decrease their health care costs by 40%. Well, if we spend $2 trillion a year on healthcare in the United States, and we were able to decrease our healthcare expenses by 40%, we could not only cover all Americans, we could do it in a way and making people healthier just by rewarding people, having them have lower premiums if they do healthier choices in their life. And then we could do it without what President Obama and the Democrats want to do, a government-run healthcare plan. See, I don't believe that we should have a bureaucrat get in the way between you and your doctor and that decision on healthcare that sometimes you need to make. If you're a woman in the United States and you get breast cancer, within 5 years you have a 98% chance of being alive. If you're in Great Britain and your woman gets breast cancer, you only have a 78% chance of being alive. And the biggest reason is because there's a bureaucrat who rations care, who delays care, and care that's delayed in health care is really care that can be denied because you need that critical care now. Canada's the same kind of result. And so we don't want it, I don't want us to have a government-run health care. I want us to have a health care system in this country where you actually make those decisions with you and your doctor. Last issue, and I maybe open it up for a little question. Education is, it's being called the new civil rights. And I believe it actually is, because in the 21st century, if we don't have the finest educated kids in America, they're not going to be able to compete in this 21st century. As fast as things are changing, they need a great education. And we have the best colleges and universities in the world. People from all over the world want to come to the United States to go to college and university. But yet, when you compare our K-12 system to the rest of the world, we're actually the second worst. And that's unacceptable. And the biggest difference between K-12 and our colleges and our universities is really a question of choice. There are a lot more choices. If you have a Pell Grant, you have a GI Bill, you have a student loan, you can go to any college that you can get into. College, university, private, public, religious, non-religious, doesn't matter. You can get into anyone that you want to be, or you can go to anyone that you can get into. In K-12, 95% of Americans, this is the school you're zoned for, this is the school you're going to go to. And what that does is it creates a situation where they don't have to compete for the kids. And see, I believe very strongly that if we have more choices, more charter schools, more public school choice, more voucher type systems, that public schools actually would become better because they compete. Competition actually makes people better. It makes companies better. It makes education systems better. We have young people here, right? Don't colleges and universities come to schools to recruit. They actually come to schools, okay? When was the last time you heard of a public K-12 coming someplace to recruit students? They don't do that because they don't have to. They're zoned there. So I believe, some kind of reforms, if you have more choice, there's some reforms that could be made. We can actually start paying good teachers more money, because that's one of the ways you attract good teachers. The other thing is, you can maybe develop a system where you tell a bad teacher, hey, go do something else. We don't want you to ruin our kids' education. Because we all know today, after a year or two, in almost every state in the country, after a year or two, you get an employment contract that says you can't be fired. Well, I'm sorry, it's time to put our kids' education before special interests. And that really is absolutely critical, I think, to the future of our country. So those are a few of the principles that, I believe that we can take as a party to get back to a majority party in the United States if we stick to our basic fundamental principles. So with that, I turn it open. If you have any